They thought it was just a drill. The familiar voice over the intercom, the click of the lock on the classroom door, the hush of nervous laughter. But within minutes, that silence turned into pure dread. Tonight, we're diving into 3 real school lockdown stories. Stories that started like any other day, but twisted into nightmares that still haunt the people who lived through them. These aren't legends. These aren't rumors. These are true events, backed by first-hand accounts. And by the end, you'll never look at a school hallway the same way again. Let's start with one that starts slow, but ends in terror. Story 1, The Hallway Stalker. It was a typical Tuesday at a rural high school in Pennsylvania. A few snow flurries drifted across the windows, and the kids in Mr. Harper's English class were half asleep, heads down on their desks. At 10:47 a.m., the lockdown alert sounded. "This is not a drill." That was the only thing the principal said. Mr. Harper calmly locked the door, turned off the lights, and told everyone to move away from the windows. They huddled in the corner, quiet, still, waiting. 15 minutes passed, then 20, and then a soft tap, not at the door, at the window. Now the classroom was on the second floor. There was no ledge, no fire escape, but something, or someone, had tapped the glass. Everyone froze. Mr. Harper mouthed, "Don't move." Another tap, louder this time. A shadow moved across the window. That's when one of the students whispered, "There's someone out there." Mr. Harper crept to the window, peeked out, and turned white. He didn't say a word, just stepped back and quietly grabbed a fire extinguisher. He stood by the door, waiting. Outside, a man in a dirty hoodie, unknown to the school, was circling the building. He had somehow climbed onto the roof, stepped down onto the second-floor ledge, and was peering into classrooms. Security later confirmed he wasn't armed, but what he did have was worse. A camcorder. He was filming every room, every student, their terrified faces. By the time police arrived, he had already vanished. To this day, no one knows who he was. Just a warning. The school never found the tapes. Story 2, The Man in the Janitor's Closet. This one happened in Texas. A middle school, late spring, right before summer break. The school had been experiencing a weird smell in the East Wing, a mix of mildew and something sharper. Staff assumed it was a plumbing issue. One Thursday, during third period, a code yellow was announced. No explanation. All exterior doors locked. Teachers instructed to keep students inside and avoid the east hallway. Rumors spread fast. Some kids said there was a fight. Others whispered about a creepy man seen near the gym. But the truth, way darker. Unbeknownst to the students, the janitorial staff had reported hearing noises at night, sweeping sounds, keys rattling, even doors slamming. Security footage showed something chilling. Between 2 and 4 a.m., the lights in the east hallway flickered on and off repeatedly. Motion sensors picked up movement, but when checked, no one was there. Then, that Thursday, a gym teacher opened a supply closet near the locker room and immediately slammed it shut. He had seen someone standing inside, facing the corner, not moving. Police were called. Lockdown initiated. When they finally opened the door again with officers present, no one was there. But here's the thing. On the inside of the closet door, scratched into the wood, were the words, "Let me out before they come." There was no sign of forced entry, no prints, just those words. The hallway was permanently sealed off. They claimed it was due to mold remediation. But those who were there that day, they know it was something else. Story 3, the sub with no name. The final story is the most bizarre and unsettling. It happened in 2019 in Oregon, a high school in a small, tight-knit town. One Friday morning, a new substitute showed up for the sophomore history class. No one had seen him before. Tall, pale, barely spoke above a whisper. He signed in, wore the school badge. Everything seemed normal at first, but students began noticing strange things. He kept the classroom door locked. He wouldn't let anyone use the bathroom. And he asked very personal questions, like where each student lived and whether their parents worked during the day. A student texted their friend in another class, "This guy's weird AF. Don't trust him." Then, during lunch, the intercom crackled. "Lockdown. This is not a drill." But here's the twist. None of the staff had called it in. It came from the history classroom itself. The principal tried to reach the room, locked. Security cams showed the sub standing at the door, blocking it from the inside. Police were dispatched. When they finally broke down the door, the man was gone. No sign of forced exit, no broken windows. And here's the most terrifying part. The man had never been hired, no paperwork, no background check. The badge he wore belonged to a real substitute who'd called in sick. All 20 kids in the class were safe, thankfully, but shaken. One girl said he whispered to her, "You all would have been so easy." No one ever found out who he was. And that school never allowed substitute teachers without photo ID and fingerprints again. Lockdowns are meant to protect us. They're supposed to be shields against chaos. But sometimes, they're not just drills, and the threats aren't always what you expect. From a man watching from the windows, to a voice behind a closet door, to a stranger who walked into a classroom like he belonged. These stories are more than creepy. They're a reminder that danger doesn't always knock. Sometimes it sits quietly in the room, watching, waiting. And next time you hear the intercom crackle, just ask yourself, is it a drill or something else? If you enjoyed this and want more true horror stories that keep you awake at night, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got even darker stories coming soon. Until then, lock your doors, check your windows, and trust your gut.